Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday Cafe's UPPN Empower Hour, where we engage, empower, and connect the generations through conversations around economic empowerment, political leadership, academic achievement, and civic engagement. And today's show focuses about empowerment through economics and network building. We have some tremendous guests that'll be on the show today. I'm your host, Darryl J. Vereen, but you can call me the strategist. So we're going to start off today with Miss Nicole Newman of Newman Network. She is someone who has been out here working with and beginning to build relationships with small business people here in the area. Nicole graduated magna cum laude from Temple University, Fox School of Business. She is also have a BA in Business Administration and Risk Management and Insurance Management Information Systems and a minor in Human Resources. Earned an MBA in Finance from the University of Maryland. And she started Newman Networks April 2006 after 15 years in corporate America at a PA in Delaware. Nicole Newman also has diversephilly.com, a website for businesses to share the cost of advertising. And she currently consults small businesses with an emphasis on women in business. And the program is called Calling All Female Entrepreneurs, also known as CAFE. She has a love for writing, and she has been around Philadelphia really just encouraging and building people up. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Thank you, Darryl, for having me. And I must mention that we go back way from 2008, and you gave me one of my first opportunities. So thank you.
Oh, not a problem. Well, when there is stardom on the stage, we want to definitely give them the mic and give them an opportunity to use their gifts, talents, and abilities to pour into the lives of others. And that was one of the things that kind of resonated when we first met. We was over at the Urban League at that time, and just looking to develop and encourage people who were small business owners through the Entrepreneurship Center there, who Keith Ellison and I kind of got that off the ground.
Yes.
And he's still there holding it down and making things happen. But I'm excited about CAFE and what you're doing with women in business, and that's a segment of the community that is a business community that's growing. But before we get into that, Nicole, people have heard your name. They know that you have Newman Networks. But why don't you introduce our community of listeners out there to who you are, where you grew up, and how did you get or start this journey of entrepreneurship?
Well, it's a long road, a long winding road. Let's put it like that. It's not a straight road at all. I graduated at the time the internet was just booming. So I came out of school with a background in COBOL, which is a computer language for business owners that became obsolete within 2 years. So the internet was just getting big, and we were deciding, did they want to tax sales on the internet? And it was a big debate going on. And then I had the opportunity to work at Deloitte. So coming from an insurance background to consulting and seeing that my first day at the job, there was alcohol being served. And that was like a culture shock for me, because in insurance, you couldn't have any alcohol at all. But here I worked for a guy who was from Sweden, and he taught entrepreneurship, working at a job and still looking at it as a business model. So while I was there, he started a website called eLearning for Kids, which allows students from all over the world to access online classes. He also did his PhD, and he transformed the organization from serving 16,000 people to 120,000 people worldwide.
Wow.
So I was around a high-performing team. So I said, well, what am I doing? What are we using the internet to do for our community? How are we using this tool to leverage the playing field so that small businesses could have the same systems and same opportunities as big businesses? So my background is actually IT, but I had to learn to be a better communicator and find out what stops people from sharing the cost of advertising, what stops people from working together. So then recently, we became a communication company, and I took on partners to help me learn how to better communicate and find out what the fear is, why people hesitate. So that has been a whole experience, because a lot of people are still not comfortable on computers.
Well, I think that's some insightful information, because we've had some other guests on here talking about technology, and technology is big, and we're going to continue to focus a little bit on technology because the world is shifting that way. It's moving that way, and you need to have a solid foundation and understanding around how technology is going to help you in business, but also the lack of having technology, how it will hurt you in business.
Yes.
But my audience still haven't found out about you, Nicole Newman. Like, where are you from? Are you from Philadelphia?
I was born in D.C. and I moved to Philadelphia when I was 7 months old. So,
okay, so you're a Philadelphian.
Well, I'm a Redskins fan.
We're going to excuse that. Okay, I'm just saying you're a Philadelphian.
Yes.
And so you grew up here in the Philadelphia. What part of the city you from?
I'm from West Philadelphia.
Okay.
And I went to the High School of Engineering and Science, came out in 1990.
Excellent. And so what got you interested in business originally?
I got interested in business because I saw my mom go to work and she had her suit on and her Reebok sneakers, and I wanted to be like her. I wanted to be professional, and I thought that was a professional look while being able to get around the city.
Okay. And so you got this entrepreneurial bug by watching these phenomenal team that you participated in, and something clicked.
Yes.
You know, I see this happening for the masses. I see this happening in a very broad way. I don't see it happening in my community. What was going on with you at that time that really connected you to that thought process?
I was a mom of 3 kids. They were ages 4, 2, and 1. And I was working 70 hours a week at my job. And I had a team in Hyderabad, India, which was 10 hours ahead of us. So when I got off at 6, they came on at 10. So I was working around the clock. And I saw that if you're trying to be superwoman and use all the balls and take care of the family, take care of work, your children are being left behind. So I had to make a decision on what was important in my life.
Okay. And so what was important?
My children were important. So I had to change some things to be able to be home in the afternoons.
Excellent, excellent. And so you launched Nicole or Newman Networks, and
yes.
So you started off being a consulting firm, communications. I heard you.
It was a marketing firm. It was about sharing the cost of advertising and using technology to build testimonials from other people. So what we started to do was just put businesses together, and then we found out that they didn't have websites, they didn't have a social media presence, they didn't have an accounting system, they didn't have a CRM, which is a customer relationship management system. So they didn't have the business fundamentals. So that's how we decided that we wanted to be into consulting. And then there was a LinkedIn message from Daryl Vereen saying that he was starting an entrepreneurship center. So I immediately responded and said, how can I help you?
So what are those things? Because you mentioned some key elements around business that people didn't know. Why are those things important? Why is it important to have a website? Why is it important to have, a solid marketing plan and,
Well, you want to make good decisions because business is cyclical. So you need to know where you are in the cycle and what's coming next. And so you can't forecast growth or hold your money tighter if you don't know where you are. So for us, marketing is not just a pot of money. It comes from off of your accounting. What's your profit and loss look like, and how much of that budget do you devote towards your marketing efforts? And what's the ROI on your marketing?
So what's ROI?
Return on investment.
So you're spending some money on marketing, and I'm finding that this is probably the second most important thing that you really need to look at in your business. Managing your finances is critical, but understanding how marketing drives business and drives awareness, drives activity, and helps you to brand. There's so many aspects and facets of marketing, and so people don't get it.
Right.
They don't understand why marketing is such a big thing. And I think it was very smart of you to get in there. But talk a little bit about those different aspects of marketing and why it was important for you to focus on them as a business consultant and someone who was serving that small business community.
Well, you have to know that word of mouth is usually 60 to 100% of how referrals come in. So technology allows us to exponentially expand a business's ability to do word of mouth. And that means that you can do word of mouth based on relationships with other people online. And that's the social media boom that we need to take advantage of. But most people are not using social media for business purposes and don't understand that Facebook makes money off of advertising. It's not a free tool. How are you using it to exponentially make more testimonials to increase your word of mouth? And that's where the networking came into play. But then we found out that there's a trust issue that's going on that stops the networking from being follow-up, from turning into business. So we had to break that barrier of trust. And then we found we wanted to do that over a series of classes that talks about the business fundamentals. And that was the idea behind calling all female entrepreneurs.
Which was where I was headed. So the networking part of it had created a need in the marketplace. And that for you was about really just bringing entrepreneurs into an environment in which they can be supported. But it turned out that you were attracting more females to this group. Talk a little bit about how that came about and what you guys are doing with the entrepreneurs that you're working with.
Well, I must go back to my mentor, Suleiman Rahman, who actually told me for 2 years to get an accountability partner. I didn't listen to him, but eventually I did listen to him, and we went through a series of accountability partners, and he set up the first accountability group. So that helped me realize that I could do so much better with other people than I could by myself.
Right.
And so we started an accountability call with Tara Colquitt, who is my partner. She is also known as the Credit Woman, just to help me focus on getting through the day. And at this time, I was training for a marathon. So I needed Tara to help motivate me to get up at 5:30 in the morning and go for that run when it was still dark outside.
You said you didn't want to be Superwoman, but here you are running a marathon, huh?
Yes. Yes, but that was different. I consider that as testing where I could go, seeing how far I could do this. So when you get to 26 miles, you find out that people are running 39 miles. And when you find out that people are running 39 miles, you find out people are running 50 miles. So you just are testing yourself. So Tara was very instrumental, and we started talking about other things. And we had an accountability call one day, and I told her opportunity had ended on my current contract and I needed to bring people together. So she said, let's do it through a series of classes. Tara does credit, Nicole does marketing, and we can both do a business plan because we were both business owners, and she was actually featured in Essence. So she had a wealth of knowledge about how to build businesses, how to build systems, and she was also an engineer. So we started Cafe in, I guess, May of 2013.
Okay.
And it was 3 classes over 3 months. It is now 5 classes over 3 months, just to give the women more time to gel. Because in that series of classes, something happens called make the bond,
okay.
And they become bonded to the work, and they have to help each other finish the work. And that's how the accountability works.
Okay. And so now they're networking, because without having networks, those networks usually open up and give you an opportunity to access other resources that you may or may not have. One of the powerful tools about UPPN is it puts a bunch of people with different skill sets, different abilities, different resources and relationships into a room. Yes. That they may not have met one another. And the power of that is, if you leverage it right, it produces opportunity. Talk a little bit about that and what you're doing through Cafe in that way.
There are a couple of things that stop the leveraging of opportunities. And one of the good things about Philadelphia is a collection of neighborhoods. It's a big, small town. So now I can show people how to do follow-up in a day using LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to see who knows who. You want to go from being unknown, I just met you today, to being unknown through edification. And that's third party. So we use LinkedIn specifically and Facebook to say, who do we know in common? And that's how the relationships boom, so that it's the next event. People are not trying to do business on the first time they meet you. It's usually on the third time. So you have to keep coming and keep showing up. And then it'll click that you have a service that fulfills my need.
Well, all business, and as the world is beginning to catch up, and you and I and Suleiman is an expert at this, know it's relational.
Yes.
We've gotten this from an industry that people have poo-pooed for a while, but are beginning to understand the power of that industry, which is network marketing or multi-level marketing, and how the soft skills of relationship is where the real capital is where the real opportunity is to develop and grow your business. Because as you just said, if you don't have relationship, and that's in anything that you do, people are less likely, unless you're a fast food restaurant or a corner store where you just come in for a one-off and you know specifically what you want, to do business with you. And so you talked about leverage, you talked about edification. These are all language or terms that talk about really creating an environment in your business that allows for that relational capital to really prove worthy for you to be able to do business with people. And so talk about how that for you was developed, and when did it really begin to happen and catch on, and why you spend so much time sharing it or paying it forward to the entrepreneurs you work with. And we'll do that as soon as we come back from our commercial break. If you want to join us, give us a call at 215-634-8065, or if you want to call in toll free, is 866-361-0900, and we'll be right back with Miss Nicole Newman.
Pastors, homeowners, and business owners, when you have a fire, water, or windstorm claim, your first call should be to David Burno, the name you know. For 30 years, I have dedicated my life to serving home and business owners just like you to prepare, present, and negotiate the maximum settlement for your claim. This is not a card game. This is your claim. No rush in the middle of the night, no pressure, but considerate, compassionate claims handling on your behalf. You do not have to go it alone.
Call Burno Adjustment at 215-549-6309. That's 215-549-6309. We are here to help you. With architects, engineers, and accountants on our side, we will prepare and present your claim to your insurance company. We will help you put the pieces of your life back together. We minimize your stress and maximize your claim in the shortest time frame. I'm Dave Burno Jr.
I'm Dave Burno Sr., and you have our word on it.
Give us a call at 215-549-6309.
Burno Public Adjusters are licensed and bonded for over 30 years and Black-owned and operated.
Don't miss this exciting community health fair Sunday, October 11th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Havertown Seventh-day Adventist Church, located 2 Edmonds Avenue, Havertown, PA. Enjoy refreshments, health screenings, advice, counseling, prizes, giveaways, face painting, moon bounces, and more.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-935-1075. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-935-1075. That's 1-800-935-1075.
You're listening to 900 AM WURD
and 900 AM WURD.com.
Progressive and proud Black Talk Media.
Welcome back to the Midday Cafe's UPPN Empower Hour, where we engage, empower, and connect the generations. And so, Nicole, we had a little bit of time to ponder on that question.
Yeah.
So the audience is sitting on their seats listening.
Okay, well, I'll tell you that I had the technical skills when it came to IT. Soft skills, no. No, I didn't even know I didn't have them until I had worked for Nick Van Dam at Deloitte. So as I started my business, I really said, do I know how to run a business? No, I don't. I have an MBA, and the MBA stands for managing a business, which is different from starting a business. So I already had accumulated $40,000 in student loans. I did not want to do that again.
Right.
I wasn't going back to school. I needed to learn how to run a business, and I got involved in network marketing to learn what it takes to be a salesperson. You have to sell yourself before you sell any product. And I didn't know how to do that. And it was in network marketing that one of my first companies said, you know, Nicole, you would make more money if you lost some weight. I said, really? I was about 240 pounds at the time. So that was the light bulb that went off for me. They had been telling me for years that I should lose weight for health. Health wasn't it for me. When they told me I could make more money if I lost weight, that was a clue.
Wow.
So you have to know who you're talking to, what motivates them. So when you learn what motivates a person, you can help guide them to where they want to be. And that's what you really want to find out is where you want to be and how can I help you get there.
Right.
That made it easy for me. So I lost weight, but the compensation model for that particular company didn't work. And then I met Mr. Rockman, and he introduced me to an opportunity I had used before, and I could learn from him. When it comes to network marketing, I think it's very important that they have a training system. Mm-hmm. And he's an excellent trainer. And I would say, it didn't go off for me in the beginning. He had major patience with me, but what I did was show up to everything.
Right.
I came to the briefing, I came to training, I went to every Super Saturday, and I went to all the conventions. And after a couple years, and I'm saying years, it took me all that time to do a presentation in front of him. And my first presentation was the worst. And that was, I can get better at this. So in his wisdom, he came back and asked me to do the same presentation the very next day. And once he said it was okay and I got his approval, everything changed for me.
Well, and it goes to show you, and this is, again, what people don't understand. Business is business. The average small business takes 3 to 5 years to get their footing. That's not to get a profit. You know, that's just to really potentially break even, because you may not break even.
Yes.
But you may have a solid business that is growing forward and getting closer to that break even point. And if you break even in 5 years, you're doing good. And some people today, especially the millennials, which we really spend a lot of time communicating with, they want everything right now. But success overnight success is not really overnight success.
No.
So just because you went from making $100,000 this year to over $500,000 next year, well, what was all of the development that went into it the years before? It took you time. Yes. It took you training. It took you investment. And you said something that was very key. As an entrepreneur, you need to be willing to invest in yourself. So I share with people all the time, Nicole, that their business growth can only go as far as their capital, their ability professionally to take that business. So they have to work twice as hard on themselves as they do their business if they really want to see their business get to the next level.
And that's what took me 18 months. So all that time I was working on me. I was losing weight. I was getting confidence, but you have to show up. I think that's the part that really I have a problem with, because it's the easiest part. Just show up. Just show up. Just keep going. And don't let where other people are determine where you want to be. You have to be focused on where you want to go. But don't let the naysayers or I didn't do what I needed to do this week. Just keep going. Keep going.
So I hear you taking that education and that training that you received, and now you're paying it forward to the entrepreneurs that you do. How often during the course of the year, you said you have this program is 5 different weeks over 3 months, or 5 different sessions over 3 months. How many times do you run Cafe throughout the course of the year, and how many people do you get for each one of the cohorts that you have?
The maximum number of people in a cohort is 14.
Okay.
We run it 4 times a year. So the maximum would be 56 people a year. So we have had about 40 people come through so far, and out of that 40, 30 have graduated. So not everybody even makes it to graduation. And out of those 30, 22 have become members of the alumni organization, which still has accountability because we want to keep going. Cafe is 3 months, but it's a lifetime of relationships. So each graduating class becomes part of the next class, and it's a sisterhood. So people are joining and bonding together. And that's the beauty of Cafe. We run it 4 times a year, and then we do Mastermind once a year. And Mastermind is not where we want your business to go, where do you want your business to go? And how can we help you get there?
Well, this has been such an exciting conversation, and we're going to continue to expound on this. But if people wanted to get connected to Nicole Newman and Newman Networks and Cafe, how can they do that? What's the way to connect with you and touch base with you?
The website is www.phillycafe.org, and cafe is CAFA. You can also get in touch on www.newman-network.com. You can always reach me on LinkedIn, one of my favorite tools, under Nicole, Nicole, Newman, Newman. And I'm available by phone. My phone number is 215-995-1041. Again, 215-995-1041. And this weekend, we're doing Vision Board, because you have to have a vision so we can help you get there.
Well, we're going to be also introducing our other 2 guests at this time.